I was doing the sketch like 2 weeks ago, and I was supposed to do a cartwheel, and my body was like, no. So it didn't happen. I just kind of twirled instead.
You can fake it. You can
I was like, wee. I faked it, but I was like, oh my God, I cannot do a beautiful cartwheel. That was like second nature to me. So I think self-care, for me, it had to be a mindful thing. Because honestly, as a mom, I was so used to putting my needs on the back burner. And I had to really decide that I was going to do things for me and take care of myself.
Hi, I'm Mary Todd, and welcome to another episode of An Appetizing Life. I've been bringing on my close friends who have been in my life for many years. And I'm so excited today to have my bestie. I love calling her my bestie. We've known each other over 30 years, and she is an actress. She is an entrepreneur, and she is a fantastic mom. So I want to welcome Miss Mary Broussard.
Hi.
Where's that little voice? Where'd that come
Just
from?
so sweet. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited you could be here and, hang out with me. We've been hanging out for a few days. We got to celebrate one of your daughter's
Brooks.
birthdays. Yeah.
Brooks'
It was
birthday.
Great out at a bonfire at the beach and watching movies and eating cheese and crackers and such. And so
Yes, so much fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
Slumber party.
I know. But let's just get right to it and get to you're from St. Louis.
Yes, from St. Louis, Missouri.
And you ended up here in Los Angeles. And that is how we met.
I'm a real transplant.
You are a transplant.
Yeah.
And so tell your story.
So, how we met, we were actually at an audition. It was my first audition in LA. And we were dancing, and we both made the call back. And so as soon as the cut happened, Lisa came up to me, and she's like, "You new in town?" I'm like, "Yeah." She introduced herself, and we went and had lunch together and been friends ever since, just like stuck like glue,
Yeah, we have stuck like glue, and we've had many adventures together.
Many adventures.
But Miss Mary went on to become an actress and did quite a few things. And I think I will have you talk about some of them.
Now, so what I'm doing is I do a live sketch comedy show on Thursdays, which has just been really great for me just to get my feet, like my toes back in the water, dip my toes back in and start acting again. And it's comedy and it's so much fun. It's live. And we get the script on Wednesday night. We rehearse Thursday afternoon and put the show up and talk about getting my acting chops back and memorizing lines and everything. It was crazy. It's so much fun, though.
That is no joke.
It's no joke.
I'm impressed. I saw the show, and I'm very impressed
Thank you.
with all that you're doing. And then I have something from the Wayback Machine.
Wayback Machine.
And this was back in the days of a little show called In Living Color.
In Living Color.
And there's Miss Mary doing her earlier acting chops, looking cute as a button. Tell me a little bit about that.
Which was that? So I did about 10 episodes of In Living Color, various sketches, But my first one was that one with Kim Wayans, where I played her daughter, and we visited the Wilt Chamberlain Memorial Wall. And it was about all the women he had slept with. So
Oh, my.
Exactly. Kim was showing me her name. And she said, one day maybe you can meet Wilt and be on the Wall of Fame. And I said, I already been there, homie.
Okay, then.
I know, so funny. So that was my first In Living Color episode. And then they just brought me back many times. And I worked with Jamie Foxx and 2 sketches and the great Jim Carrey and, David Allen Greer and Tommy Davison. So all of them, it's just really fun. And Lisa and I got to hang out on the set because she was
I was there.
Fly girl.
Somewhere around there.
So, it was just so much fun to be on set with my best friend. So that was a lot of fun. It was so amazing. What an amazing time in our 20s to
have that experience and have, all those really talented and nice people around us.
So nice.
It was a good crew, good group.
Yeah.
So I am very appreciative of that, and to have done that with you.
Yes.
Cool.
It was great.
So life moves forward for you.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like I'm doing this as your life, but life moves forward for you, and you become a wife, you become a mom.
A mom of 4.
I was not going to say not of 1, not of 2, not of 3, but of 4. And yeah, talk to me a little bit about that, because you were in a transition then of mommyhood, and acting was still on the side. So how did you maneuver through that?
So in the beginning, I thought I can do both. I started off doing, still working with one child, one baby. And then we started doing the mommy-daughter calls, commercials. And that was fun. And then second baby came, and I was still doing it, and I would be pumping on set. I remember I did a Tide commercial, and, during the takes, we're going, and I'm telling the director, I need to take a break to go pump. And he's like, just one more. I said, okay, one more, but my wardrobe will be ruined. So he called a break. So I went and did that. So second child, I was still able to work a little bit. And then what happens, I have the third child, I'm still able to work a little bit. But once my oldest daughter got into school, the schedule of school and pickup and take, before I could just take them with me. But once they got in school, it just became increasingly more difficult to do all that.
So, you were very active and still are in your children's life.
Yeah.
And that's why they're these are amazing, talented, bright, beautiful human beings.
I love my babies.
Yeah, your babies are amazing. But for you as a woman, because, you're a woman first, then you're a mom and you're a wife.
Right.
How was that? What did that feel like for you to have to kind of, you're in that season of life, you kind of have to set yourself aside so you can nurture your babies and all of that. So
yeah, it was different, but it was a new reality for me, and it's something that I embraced because I chose to do it, and I just really wanted to be the best mom I could be. So I just jumped in feet first and just did it, and it was so rewarding, and I wouldn't change a thing. I was very active. I was room mom for all 4 of my kids, every grade, all of their classrooms. I was PTA president, grade school, junior high, high school, and I drove my kids to dance class, gymnastics, rock climbing, everything that they did. I was their competitions, everything. And I'm still parenting my adult children. It never ends. Of course, they're strong and independent, but they still come to me for advice. And I think that's a testament for our relationship. I'm very close with all of them, and it's wonderful. But now I'm in a stage of life where I'm starting to reclaim things that I want to do, and that's part of the sketch comedy.
Yeah. And that's, well, we're missing an insert there.
Yes.
That was my next thing to ask you, because as you start to emerge out of that season and you're like, what am I going to do now? I was wandering my house. My daughter left for school. Right. What do I do now? You have found something new. You've started your own business.
Yes.
And you are in a field you didn't know anything particularly about it. So tell us a little bit about that.
So it's crazy because I manage alumni networks, which basically it's all computers, it's all social media, it's coding. I knew nothing about computer science and all that, but I learned this whole new language is what you learn. And as you're learning it and you're trying to figure it out, just one day a light bulb comes on and you can read this code, which I never, ever thought I would be that type of person. But I took to it like a fish to water. And I just grew my business, and I worked for the Harvard School African American Alumni Club, the Latino Alumni Club, the Wharton School of Northern California, and I manage all of their social media. I built their websites. I do graphics. Where you click that button, register here. I do all that, tickets, everything. And it's been amazing. It's been an amazing experience. And just, learning new things just keeps you young. And I love that. And I make a great living to do what I want to do with my money.
That's what I'm talking about.
Where are you traveling next? Okay.
Where are you going next? But I think it's so important to, especially now with all the new technology and AI, to embrace and just jump in and not have any fear about it. Because you did jump in. I remember getting the call, I got to do this. And I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. But so when you look back, because now you have this, new business, how do you see the things you learned? Because I think about back in the day, performing and being on set, you learned certain life skills from that. And a lot of people wouldn't think that, but you learn certain ethics. That word doesn't come up very often in that business.
Yes.
Work ethics is what I'm trying to say, because you have to be on time. You have to know what you're doing. So when you think back, because you've had experience being on camera, you've built this business, you've been a mom, I feel like nothing's wasted as you're trying to, move forward. What do you see? What things do you see that have helped you get to this stage and use some of those things? Like I said, nothing's wasted. So I'm just curious.
So true. And I think work ethic is definitely there. We always were taught to be on time is late, but to be early is to be on time. So I was always on time and early for everything that I did, very professional with these Harvard Business School clients. And when COVID hit, we went into a world of webinars. Well, no one knew how to do webinars, but I did. And I became basically a producer of hundreds of webinars over the last 2 years during COVID. And I would tell people, I'd help them with their cameras. I'd help them with their lighting. I'd help them, tell them how to sit, tell them how to talk, sit up. And I would do a run of show for the webinars. We'd have rehearsal and everything. So it was definitely my television background that helped me excel and to be sought after, because I was working with the African American Alumni Club, and then the Latino Club saw me and saw what I was doing, and they hired me. So that allowed me to expand my business. So I think, my background in acting just really helped in that aspect for sure. And then just always being a creative person. I make, the graphics and social media posts, all of that comes into play just with the creativity factor.
Yeah, and it's so important because, I enjoy doing what I'm doing, switching things behind the scenes. Hopefully it's all working properly.
Yeah.
But it allows you to have that creative outlet again. And so for women who are pondering about that second act or trying something new, what would you say to them to inspire them or to get them moving forward?
I say just go for it, right? It's scary. It was scary for me to learn something new. I literally started with one finger on the computer. I mean, I really didn't know how to do anything. I went on the computer to go on Facebook. That's really what I use my computer for, or downloading pictures or things like that. So I just say be open to opportunities and try new things. I was a substitute teacher for years while my kids were growing up, because it allowed me the ability to work, but be able to take my kids to school and pick them up. I never thought I'd, be a teacher, but it was great. But it allowed me to have the flexibility that I needed, but it was something new for me too. So I would just say, be open to opportunities, ask your friends what they're doing. Because actually I got my company from one of my girlfriends who was moving on to something else. And I worked for her for about a year, and then she passed the company on to me. So network.
That's so true. You have to network and reach out to your circle and the circle beyond that and the circle beyond that. And
exactly.
You just never know, what's going to come of it. So, and I know you, but what all you do, all that you do all the time, how do you find time to take care of yourself? Because I'm all about the self self-care and taking care of the physical, the mental, the emotional, the whole thing. Because
Exactly.
if anything's out of alignment there, it's just not going to work. So what do you do for yourself?
Yeah.
You know, the kids are older now, so it's not as much juggling. But what do you do?
I tell you what I do physically. At a minimum, I walk 30 minutes a day, no matter what. I will get up from the computer. I get up from the computer at least every 20 minutes just to stretch my legs. I try to. It's not all the time, but most of the time. But I do 30 minutes walking at least a day. I'll get up maybe at lunchtime or at the end of the day. And if it's too hot outside, I'll walk around my living room. But most of the time, I walk in the backyard, and I do that. On the weekends, I make sure I do not do any computer at all. I just will make sure I do something that really makes me happy. Go to the beach, go to the mall, hang out with friends, family, anything. But I just make sure that I have that time to unplug. And I think it's just so important because I think we're always attached to our devices now. I work at a computer all day long, Lisa. You know about that. So, I really do. I really do. And I do my nails. I make sure I put on a little makeup, whatever I need to do. And I'll do a spa day. I do a spa day about once a month, get a massage and take care of myself. I think it's just important to pour back into you because we give so much of ourselves to everyone else.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And honest question.
Uh-oh.
It's an honest question.
Okay.
I'm 61 now. You're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
But how has self-care and taking care of yourself changed? Because, our bodies don't do what they used to do. We think they do.
Yeah.
But they don't. So how's that, honestly, mentally, how's that affected you? Because I know, I get a little ticked off sometimes. It's like, well, I used to be able to do that.
It's terrible. I was doing a sketch like 2 weeks ago, and I was supposed to do a cartwheel, and my body was like, no. So it didn't happen. I just kind of twirled instead.
You can fake it. You can
I was like, wee. I faked it, but I was like, oh my God, I cannot do a beautiful cartwheel. That was like second nature to me. So I think self-care for me, it had to be a mindful thing because honestly, as a mom, I was so used to putting my needs on the back burner. And I had to really decide that I was going to do things for me and take care of myself. And one of those things is exercising. So, like I said, at least 30 minutes a day, but I will go do Zumba. I'll go do water aerobics and things like that because you have to. At this age, you have to work just to maintain your weight.
No, it's if you don't use it, you do lose it.
If you don't use it, you lose
true.
it. It's so true.
Yeah. So I'm always about like if you're sitting a lot, get up.
Get up.
Don't sit all day. Take a break. Do a water break. Hydrate.
Yes. Oh my God, I drink so much water.
Oh my goodness. So you have been married for how many years now?
31 years coming up.
Oh my gosh.
September 11th.
See, I should have found the picture of us.
Oh, yes. We were each other's bridesmaids.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Oh, that was
20-something.
It was a hot summer.
Hot summer.
But how have you balanced that in the mix? I would love to hear.
Yeah, well, anyone who's married knows there's good times and there are bad times, and it ebbs and flows. And I think the balance has been we're really good partners. We're very good partners, and we don't try to measure what the other person is doing. We're not going, well, you do the dishes today. You do the dishes today, whatever. We just see the need and we fill the need. And that's how it works for us. And he was a fireman for many years. He just recently retired. But I would be at home alone with the kids 10 days in a row. I remember when I was pregnant with my son and driving the kids back and forth to school and things like that and all of their activities. But I was alone for 10 straight days. But, you kick it in the gear and do what you have to do. But I think we're just a really good team. And honestly, we've had marriage therapy. We've had individual therapy just to work on ourselves and to, come the best versions of ourselves that we could be. So I do believe in therapy because sometimes you need a little tune-up. And we're commit to the commitment.
Yeah.
That's what we have done.
And being committed to the commitment, that is so key, because if one person has one foot in and the other one has one out, it's just not going to work.
Exactly.
So as I listen to you, and I just so people know, I throw out this long list of 52 words because I'm working on something, and I ask my guests to pick out certain words that resonate with them. And one of the words that you picked out was strength. I went for that one. The other ones were good, but I went for that one with you.
Yeah.
And so first of all, what is your definition of strength now?
Yeah.
Not from the past, because what we thought then is not, all the life we've lived is so different now.
Yeah.
But what is that? And how do you insert that into your life and into your career and into who you are as a woman?
Yeah. So I would say my definition of strength for me now is pushing through when things are difficult, holding my family together when I have to do that, be it my husband or my kids or my mother. That's a whole other stage of life when you're taking care of your elderly parents and grandparents and things like that. So I find strength within myself to get up and go even when I don't want to, and I have to, and I do it.
Yeah. And that is strength to just, when you think you can't go any deeper, you got to find that energy to keep going.
Exactly.
And, I understand with your mom, because my mom had dementia. She's no longer with us, but the juggle is real, and being in the sandwich generation is a real thing. So what advice would you have? Because I have so many friends right now that are in that. What advice would you give someone who's in that moment?
Well, one piece of advice I'd give is to have boundaries between your mom, your dad, whoever it is, and yourself. You have to know that you can't allow yourself to be taken advantage of or abused. And sometimes that is what comes up. And I have boundaries of how far I can go or how far I let her go. And then also you have to remember they're still an individual person. And as much as you want to do for them, they have to be willing to allow you to do these things. So we're in a place right now where I want my mom to come and live with me so I can help take care of her. But she doesn't want to. She likes living alone. So what I ended up doing was hiring my cousin's daughter to come in and help her, because I'm in California, my mom's in St. Louis, but it's just someone that I know who's there at least once a week and can give me a report on how my mom's doing, because sometimes they're not going to tell you everything. They're not going to tell you if they're not feeling well or if they're down or, if they're not physically fit, So that was something that I did to give myself peace of mind.
Yeah, and it's tricky because they are good at masking things and not letting you know, and then it's till you find out. You're like, okay, okay, how do we fix this? This is not, this isn't good for you. So, I love that you have. I love your family. Everybody rises to the occasion. Yeah. I am an only child, so that's the boundaries is another episode which we will cover. And, just having that support system. And so with that community, the family community, because we have our families, but then we have our second family, the second circle. What is that for you?
Yes. So obviously Lisa and I are friends over 30 years. And I think that Lisa's definitely in that second circle. You are. You've been there for me in ups and downs, and I hope I've been there for you. So that is very important, just to have someone. If I need to get away, I can just come here and we just have a really great time. I have another group of about 4 women. We started in Mocha Moms, which is a support group for stay-at-home moms of color. And we, have known each other since our kids were toddlers, and we've gone through the toddler years and grade school, high school, college, and, now my oldest is out of law school and is about to get married. And we've been there for each other for, their parents dying, cancer diagnosis, brain tumors, all kinds of things, but we're there to support each other. And it's great. And we also celebrate each other's birthdays. Each one of us, we take that person out whose birthday it is, whatever they want to do, golf, dancing, eating, spa, whatever it is we want to do. So we make sure that each of us is celebrated at the time of our birthday. So it's really important to have those people. And I just love my friends because they love me and accept me for who I am.
How can we not love you?
Thank you.
How can we not love you? Oh my goodness. So what's next on the horizon? What do you see happening? Because you've lived a full life.
Yeah.
There's so much more still to do.
Yeah.
Which is what this show is about. So what do you see yourself doing? What's happening?
So I have a few things coming up that I'd like to do. I'd like to get back into more acting, maybe doing some commercials. I love doing television commercials and maybe do some television. That's one little thing. Another thing I'm planning on doing is expanding my business to include more alumni networks. And I'm dipping my little toe into event planning. So I'm actually going to do a job. Exactly. Okay. I just think I know, but it's something I've always wanted to do. And I am definitely a people person. So I think I would be really good at that. So I actually have my first job doing that next week. So wish me luck.
Yeah, you don't need luck, but you are a perfect example of just try it and do it and see what happens and see if you like it. And if you start to rise and excel at it, then do it. I love that.
That's what I do. It's something new and exciting. And of course, traveling. That's what I want to do. So if you have a trip, invite me, please.
I don't travel. I never travel.
Little runaway bunny there.
She calls me runaway bunny because I was like, where is she?
Always somewhere. Where are you now?
Gone. Oh my God. This has been so much fun. Where can people find you at, Miss Mary?
You can find me. I am on Instagram at Mary Broussard. I am on LinkedIn at Mary Broussard Harmon, and I'm on Facebook at Mary Broussard Harmon. So look me up.
Do look her up. She might be planning your party soon.
You never know.
You might turn on the TV and see her there.
There I am.
You just never know where Miss Mary's going to pop up. I adore you. You know that.
Love you, my friend.
And thank you so much for, maneuvering through this.
We did it.
We did it. It was quite an experience, but thank you.
Thank you for having me. Yay.
Thank you for tuning in to An Appetizing Life. I hope you've enjoyed today's conversation. Please subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes, and be sure to leave a review. Until next time, keep laughing, loving, and living vibrantly.